The next amazing thing we want to look at is custom fields, how to create custom fields. So you can create custom field for the contact, for the company, and for the product. Also create pipeline fields which are for the deals, and for the modules also we can decide to edit the module if we want. So for instance, if you are not using contact, if you are using something like students, or you are using something like courses, or you are using something like patients, you can change contact to all of this name if you want. And you can change the contact, and you can also change you can change the singular, you can also change the plural form. And when you're done, you click on save. And to create a new custom field, all you need to do is to click on customize field over here, and it's going to take you to this page where you can see all of the fields that you currently have, and you can see all your unused field also. And you can decide to drag in your unused field and just drag them here, and it's going to be added here from the unused field. So you can also create a new field if you want, and we have different type of fields you can create. So we can say that for this we want to create a pick list field. You can say something like, do you have a CRM? A pick list just allow them to be able to select options. So we can have different options where we ask them a question that they have to pick different options in their answers, and we can allow this to be a single select, or we can allow it to be a multi select. So a multi select just allows them to be able to pick multiple options, while single select allows them to only pick one option. So we are asking them, do they have a CRM? And it can either be a yes or it can be a no. So we can type in yes and no for the option. And since it is a single select, that means they can pick any of this option. We can also decide to add in an option in bulk, or you can type in your own option, and you can add in another option if you want. And if you want to remove this, just click on the red button to remove that. You can also set a default value so that if any contact is coming in, we can decide to set a default value to yes, or we can decide to set the default value to no or not sure. So you can also decide to show your pick list in ascending order, and you can click on save and create new. And save and create new is just going to allow you to save this and create a new page to create a new pick list. So when you are done, you just click on save and create new. And when you click on save and create new, we can then create a new custom field. So the next one, we want to say we want to create a text, and we can ask them questions like, where do they live? Or we can ask questions like, what do they want, or what do they need help with? We can ask them simple questions like, what are they having challenges with, and they can type whatever they need. And we have this where we can add in a multi-line, which is a regular multi-line, which they can be able to put up to 2000 characters. And we also have the multi-line, which is the large one, where they can put up to 32,000 characters. Wow, that's a lot. Yeah, so for the multi-line, they can be able to type in whatever they need, and that is questions like, what do they need help with? We can ask questions like, what are the challenges they are facing? You can ask whatever question you want to ask, and that is for text. And for numerical, we have the number field, and while we have the number field, we can add the long number field also. We also have the decimal field where you can ask for their GPA, you can ask for anything that has to do with decimal. And we have percentage where you can ask them percentage questions like, how good are you with your CRM? You can ask them in percentage how good they are with their CRM. And you can also add in an auto number. An auto number is just going to allow you to be able to add a kind of ID. Let me limit ID. So if a contact is coming in into the CRM, we can add a auto number, or maybe an ID to the contact, and we can add in a prefix, we can add in a suffix. So for the prefix, we can say, we can put in your 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 code, and you can say something like CRM. So let's say the prefix is going to be CRM, and the starting number is going to be 1. So you can also add in a suffix, and the suffix will be the one that is after, and we can name it something like CRM again. So let's say, this is just an example, this does not make any sense actually, but I'm just using it as an example. So we can say that the prefix is CRM, and the starting number is 1, and the suffix is 1. So as you can see the preview here, if any contacts come in, they will be named CRM1 CRM, or CRM2 CRM. So we can do that. You can also update the existing contacts, if you existing records if you want, but I do not want that, so I'm just going to click on cancel. And that is the last one for the auto number. So the next one we want to check in is the lookup field. And for the lookup field, we can create a field where we can be able to check the different modules that we have in Zoho Begin. So for instance, we can look up deals in the pipeline, or we can look up a contact, or we can look up products. So let's say we want to connect some products to a particular contact, or we want to connect some products to a company to a particular contact. We can do that. So we can name this another we can name this, instead of having the company name like we do have, we can say maybe associate company, or we can say associate or maybe we can say the parent company or the child company. So we can have that, and we can just name that whatever we want. And you can say the lookup field is going to be companies. After adding the lookup as company, we can say the related company. And if you're adding contact, you can say something like the related contact. So that is for lookup. And you can also make the field mandatory if you want. And for the next one, we have the formula field, where you can create different formulas. You can calculate dates, you can calculate time, you can calculate year, and you can also subtract, and you can start with, you can look for the maximum number. You can do all of these functions in Zoho Begin. So I will advise, they have a page where they explain all of this, so you can check it out. You can also calculate your fields. So for instance, if you're having the total times quantity and you want to be able to calculate something, you can also do that. If you want to calculate something like the commission, or if you want to calculate the percentage of something, you can use the formula field for that. And they have different operators like the add and subtract. You can add something, you can subtract, you can also divide, you can make the greater than, the less than, whatever you want to do. And you can also add that if you want. And for the types of the formula field that we have the currency. So you can calculate your currency formula if you want. You can calculate the dates if you also want, and you can calculate the time, the dates and time if you want. So for instance, you can calculate the date and time that someone came in into your account. And you can also use boolean, which is just yes or no, and that is for formula field. The next one, we have the date field. You can create a date field where people can be able to pick a date, or you can also ask them to pick a date and a time. So for instance, if you're asking them what time and what date and time they'll be available for a meeting, you can use date and time instead of using just date. And that is for date. And the next one, we have the currency field. The currency field just allows us to be able to create a field where they can be able to add uh, where they can be able to add monetary details. So, for example, if you're asking them for their budget, you can be able to use the currency field to be able to ask for their budget. If you're asking for their budget, if you're asking for annual revenue, if you're asking for the salary of each of their employees, currency field is the way to go. An email field allows us to be able to create email field. For instance, if we're asking for their parents' email, if we're asking for the father or the mother's email, if we're asking for their secondary email, we can use the email field to do this. We can also make this mandatory if you want, and you can say that you do not want to allow duplicates, and this is going to make sure that we do not have duplicate email in our CRM. And you can also encrypt the field if you want. And after the email, we have the phone, where you can also be able to create a phone field. So you can ask them for their mobile number, you can ask them for their office number, you can ask them for their home phone number, whatever it is you want to add. And you can also make sure that you add in a field length. So if whatever country you are in, you can decide that you want to add in a field length. So we can keep the field length as 20, and we can make this mandatory if you want. And you can also decide that you do not want to add duplicate values. And that is for phone. And after phone, we have URL. And for URL, we can decide that we want to ask them their website, or we want to ask them their parent company website. It's just going to allow them to be able to put a URL, something like zohobigin.com or zohocrm.com. And you can also decide to make it mandatory if you want. And after the URL, we have the checkbox, and the checkbox just allows us to be able to ask questions like privacy questions. Do you consent to us sending you newsletters? And when they check the box, that means they are consenting to that. And you can also ask different questions like, do you the terms and conditions questions, or even questions that you feel you need checkbox for. And we also have the user field, which is a very, very important field. You can create a field where it's going to be that is going to generate the users in your Zoho Bigin. So we can create like the salesperson, and we can decide that the salesperson will be someone in our organization, a user in Zoho Bigin. So you have to make sure you know what you want to use this field for. The user is going to be for everyone in your organization that is in Zoho Bigin. So you can create maybe the salesperson, or you can create the approval person, and just name it whatever it is you want to name it. If you take a look at your Zoho Bigin processes and you feel that there's something wrong, or there is a particular feature that you do not understand, or there is something that is going on but you cannot actually figure out what is wrong, we offer comprehensive audit for your Zoho Bigin account. We are going to look at everything that is working and everything that is currently not working, and how we can help you fix all of those things that are currently not working in your Zoho Bigin account. You can book your comprehensive audit in the link in the description. And also, do not forget to like this video and also share to everyone you think might need this video, and also subscribe to this channel. Guys, we are currently at 94 subscribers, and that is quite low for the content we put out on this channel. So please do not forget to like this video and also share to everyone who you think need this video. Thank you so much, guys. I will see you in my next video. Bye.